We do have different scripts for different situations with the house. Like there's a different script for a pre-foreclosure than there is for a divorce or for tax lien or whatever. Like the pre-foreclosure, you've got to be a little bit more urgent. Like, hey, you're going to lose the house. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, we need an appointment now.
We need an appointment now.
This is Mitch, and we're back for a second episode with Juan Fuentes, who's running the Outbound calling room for yours truly, and Mike Powell, my partner. It's been a really great relationship. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, does it, Juan?
No, it doesn't. It takes some time, takes some energy, but just like anything worthwhile isn't easy, right? So you got to push through it, and you see the fruits of your labor pretty soon if you push through.
Yeah. So look, I'm going to digress here a second. I didn't take time to introduce him, probably tell the whole background. If you want to know that, just go to the episode right before this one, because I've got like 27 minutes and I got to get right to the meat of this thing here. So, okay, so we talked about how we met, how the phone room kind of came to be. People think that I plan all this stuff. I don't plan stuff. I'm a monitor of things, opportunities that come my way. When Juan said at a lunch meeting, one of these days I'd love to open up a phone room and be the manager of some people and have other people under me, Mike and I snapped. I just recognized the potential. We turned right to him and said, well, let's explore that. Tell us more about that. Voila. I now have an outbound phone calling room with our company, Mike and I, but it's not like this was in some master plan. We just hear the opportunity when it knocks and we answer the door most of the time. We don't always let them in, but in this case we let it in, the idea in. It's a good idea. Basic idea is if you could get 3, 4, 5 people calling 250 people a day, each person setting about 3 appointments a week at least, if not 4 or 5, so that the closer, Juan, could run out and work his 8-10 years worth of closing magic and get a contract signed. So he's really hiring professional appointment setters to go through this minefield, grab the logical prospects, give him a heads up that these people are lukewarm or hot, and then Juan gets on and brings the whole conversation to another level and gets an appointment at their house or at the property and gets them to sign. We're doing this locally in San Antonio. We're not virtually wholesaling, although it's virtual to an extent because our VAs are from overseas, and I suppose if you can do it on the phone from the Philippines to San Antonio, or even from San Antonio to downtown San Antonio, you can do it from anywhere, right?
Sure.
So you could use this idea for virtual wholesaling, but just to be clear, I buy houses in my hometown, 1,500 houses since 1996, and I like to stay right there for whatever reason. And now we're going to go on to like the systems and whatever else appears interesting. So let's start with list. Who are they calling? How do you get 250 people a day for 3 or 4 people to call?
Yeah, you need a big list, right? You need a big list. So we purchased a tax delinquency list, and I guess in late January, early February, we enlisted a VA to start doing data scraping. Take that.
Hold on
list
right there.
down.
We purchased a tax list.
Yes.
I remember Mike telling me that the amount of people delinquent in their property taxes was like 33,000.
33,000 people.
33,000
in Bexar
people
County.
in Bexar County, in my one county. So that right there, that list alone is enough to keep people busy. However, the whole 33,000 isn't going to be. We don't want to call all 33,000 of them because some of them aren't going to be worth it. So you get the list and then you got to scrape the list.
Sure.
So step 2, you got to scrape the list down to the most viable candidates.
You'd be surprised how many people on that list owe a penny.
Oh, how many? Yeah. So how many people on that list owe 1 cent? I don't want to call someone who's 1 cent behind. So when you start to do this scraping process, first of all, have you been able to get through all 33 of them and knock it down, or is it just
no?
Okay.
No. I mean, those ones that owe a penny, we're not going to call them. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's a good use of our time. Okay,
so the good use of time, and we talked about this a little bit in the previous episode, was people that are 3, 4, 5 years behind in taxes owe 4, 5, 6, 7,000 because for the average person that's not overcomable. Or for a lot of people, even $3,000 to catch up is not going to happen.
Sure, you can. Like we were saying in the previous episodes, stack some of the issues that they have. They're behind on taxes. The property's in an estate and it's vacant. You've driven by it and it's vacant or whatever the case.
So basically what we're saying is there's these filters. It's behind on taxes is one filter. It's vacant, that's another filter. And we keep stacking in these filters, so less and less stuff goes in the bucket, but it's higher and higher quality for us.
Yeah, higher probability that they want to sell at a discount.
Yeah, higher probability that they want to sell at a discount. So use those filters so if you only have one VA and they can only call 150 people, then add more filters and have them call the cream of that crop, you know,
really
first.
Focused list.
Yeah, so you got to get a list, find a list. That's not that hard to do. Public records can provide you with a ton of lists, right?
Right, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
But then there's lists you could buy, there's other things, and then you got to filter that list. What did you call it?
Data scraping.
Yeah, data scraping. We're going to scrape some data. We're going to filter that list down to a viable bucket of prospects. And then what next?
So then you skip trace them, and that's the fun part, I think.
Okay, so
I've always enjoyed that.
Then he's assigned VAs to skip trace. You know, in our case, we have VA skip tracing. It can be quite challenging because the skip tracing companies don't like overseas stuff, but that's a whole nother topic.
Well, you know, and beforehand I was doing the skip tracing, I was doing all of that, and I did that in collections, so it came natural. I understand how to do that. One of my favorite stories to tell is I found somebody working at a Chinese consulate when I was in collections, and she said, "How did you find me?" I said, "The internet. Not hard. You're on the internet. There's your name. You work at the Chinese consulate." So, well, how'd you get through to me? Well, I called the American consulate and they patched me through the Chinese consulate, and I kept asking for you, and after 15 minutes they patched me through. Well, she didn't pay, but it's still a fun story to tell. Like, I got somebody in China. You know?
In the American consulate behind on their credit cards.
Right.
Delinquent.
Yeah, behind on
defaulted
on an auto payment that was a car that was repossessed. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it stinks. But
okay, so list, scrape the list. Then you got to skip trace. You got to find their phone numbers. You got to find their. Did you find email addresses?
Email addresses.
Physical addresses.
Physical addresses.
See, this is really cool because in your CRM they start to fill out this spreadsheet, and now you're starting to be able to get to a point where you can text them, voice drop them, email them, personal call them.
Yeah,
everything.
I think a lot of folks just stop at the phone. Oh, I got the number. Let me stop. But wait a minute. You've got an email too. Email them. You know, you can find them on social media. Message them. You know,
and beyond that, once we have that information, you can probably find their hash file, and you can start to retarget them online if you want to take it to that whole nother level, which is a different conversation. We're not going to go to that, but once you get a certain amount of information on them, usually very little information, address or phone number, you can start to retarget them, which when I say retarget means that whenever they get on the internet, your ads start popping up. The internet recognizes, or the system recognizes that, hey, one of your guys is on Facebook right now, and they start throwing up your ad in front of them. So now
then there's another tier to the skip tracing. Like, you're not getting them through all those channels. Call their relatives. You know, call their neighbors. I don't see anything wrong with that. We would do that in collections. You're trying to update or confirm location information. It's the same thing we're trying to do here. Trying to update or confirm location information, and then gauge whether or not they want to sell the call or sell the house.
Sell the house.
Sell the house.
So if you can't get a hold of them directly, then we're going after friends and family,
friends and nearby,
neighbors or nearbys. All right, and then so you get a hold of the person. Your VA has got a good number for the right person. We know they're there. They're even going to answer the phone. Now what happens?
Yeah, so they talk to them. They gauge their motivation level. They use a script. I have a pretty generic script that they're using. All they're trying to do is just gauge their motivation in the house, of selling the house. So they ask them a lot of feel questions. How do you feel about that? What would you feel like selling it for? What do you feel like it's worth? A lot of feeling questions, really to gauge their emotion on the house. Like, I think the number one response you get, and you know you've got a deal, is like, I just want to get rid of it. Like, you know you've got a deal right there. I'm in the truck. You know.
Yeah, hit the buzzer, hit the red buzzer button. Juan starts getting shot.
Put me on the catapult. Launch me to the house.
Juan's shot collar starts to go off. Yeah. They load him on the catapult. They pull the string. He flies across the neighborhood, gets in front of the house.
Yeah, in front of the house, lands right in the door with the contract.
Okay, so the goal is to get appointments.
Yes.
What's your dream goal for them per day, or per week, or per month?
I'd really, they're doing a really good job.
So we're talking about one caller now.
One caller is doing a really good job if they can set 4 appointments a week.
4 appointments a week for one caller, which results, so you're going out 4 times. and you're closing one of those, or
I'd probably close one of the 4. I think that's a pretty accurate assessment. The others, sometimes they want too much. There's not enough equity in the house. There's other factors that.
Yeah, but they're not over yet.
But they're not over yet, right? So just got to keep pushing on them. But as far as like one call close or first appointment close, I think I close about 25% on the first contact when I go out there.
Right. This is going to be a very lucrative business for you soon, isn't it?
It's already turning into it.
I'm very happy for you. I love it when it comes together because it's not going to work for me if it's not working for you. So
it's exactly right.
I want it to work for you. That's why Mike and I support it so much, and that we're trying to fund it, or have patience with it, of course, but also apply brains to it, get resources to it. I've been studying a lot of different scripts, and or talking to other people that are doing scripts in big phone rooms, trying to get their scripts.
Sure.
Just so we can compare.
Yeah.
See, and do you run? Are you A/B in scripts? Like, do you have one script?
No,
you're trying?
I haven't done that yet. We do have different scripts for different situations with the house. Like, there's a different script for a pre-foreclosure than there is for a divorce or for tax lien or whatever. Like the pre-foreclosure, you've got to be a little bit more urgent. Like, hey, you're going to lose the house. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, we need an appointment now.
We need an appointment now. Don't try and give me the runaround. Like, you kind of have to go in guns a-blazing. The other ones, you can kind of be a little bit more reserved about it. But like, I don't know. I've just seen like the pre-foreclosures. You've got to hit them hard. Other
ideas that we've just now starting to have that we're going to probably implement in the future is we're starting to color code people's personalities and write it at the top of the information sheet on this house. This person charitable? Are they a numbers person? Are they
logical? Are they emotional?
Yeah.
And I've been working with a coach on identifying that sort of stuff, and so I'm immediately training my VAs on that sort of stuff. Hey, you listen for what they're saying. Are they emotional? Are they logical? Where do they make their decisions? How do they make their decisions? What's going on with them? And so now they're starting to recognize that and kind of put that into practice within the confines of the script.
Yeah, because the point being, if you can talk to someone in their language, you'll reach them. Like if a guy's not money motivated and you can lower your price all you want to, it's not moving him. When you finally figure out that it's about, can he live in the house for 2 months before he has to move, now we figured out what he wants.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or other people, and I've seen this in my own personal history, a very bad experience happened in that house. Something very bad. It's not about the money. They really don't want to talk about it, but if you can get it out of their life as painlessly as possible and they never have to deal with it again, they're probably likely. Some of those people will refuse to even talk about the house and hang up, and I never can get to them. I shudder to think what happened in those houses or what happened, but there's some pretty traumatic things that have. I know that they were traumatic because of the talking to the people.
Sure.
So we're using the talk to them in their own language, personality code them, so that we can figure out how to best talk to them. And how excited is your VA? Excited about this business, or they just take it as a job? Or
2 of the 3 of them are very excited. Very excited. One of them, the lead, she's all over it. She's really. I have all 3 females right now. I don't know if I need a male caller or whatever, but it seems like females are a lot softer on the phone. They seem to get through to people. People are willing to listen to them a little bit longer than they would listen to maybe a male with an accent. I don't know what the issue is, but I had one male and he didn't work out. So I don't know. But 2 of them are super excited. One of them is constantly sending me Skype messages. Hey, what do I do in this situation? What do I do in that? I love that. That means
I was going to say you would like that.
I love that. That means they're super eager to learn. They want to be part of the process. They're like they're engaged.
Yeah, and it shows you holes in your script.
Exactly.
Right?
It shows me holes, shows me things. Oh, I need to do this. I need to just write a completely different script for this, right? And so I'll go and write a different script. I'll kind of look and see, well, what are other people doing? Yeah, I can take that. Okay, I can Frankenstein this script together or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this is what's worked for me. Let me kind of put this in there. But sometimes I say things and it works for me, but they may not be able to say it, right? Because they're not used to communicating the way I communicate.
Wow, did you hear that? He Frankensteined that script together. Just dawns on me, I Frankensteined my whole business.
Part of it here, part of it here.
Hey, Hannah, I think Juan can fit there, and Mahaffey can fit over here, and Mitch, you can sit over here. So let's say you have a full-time job. How does someone start a outbound calling phone room if you have a full-time job and you're trying to find some leads? Because I think this outbound calling thing is a perfect thing for someone who has a full-time job and needs to just do the meat of the business and doesn't have time for all the minutia of the business.
Sure.
So how would it work?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I was in this situation and I was going to start from the ground up, as you know, because I took the leap of faith and went all in.
Yeah.
But if I was still working the job, I'd be doing a lot of this stuff on the weekends. I'd be vetting my VAs at night when I get home, or on the weekends communicating with them quite a bit. This is what we want to do, this is how we want to do it. In the mornings I'd probably be emailing them or setting up the tasks for the day. You know, so you're going to have to work outside your work hours and kind of get them set up, kind of get them up and going. You can get the scripts, you can get the lists, you can get all of that, and you can do that, you know, on your non-work time, and eventually get them up and running to where they're going. You know, maybe hire somebody that's a little bit more expensive, that knows what they're doing, that's already previously been trained, and have them train your less expensive VAs.
Yeah, so I'm going to say part-time, I think that's a good thing, but that also assumes that you're willing or know
what you're doing.
What you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you may be spending part-time taking a lot of courses on how to train VAs before you even get to the point where you train a VA.
That's exactly right.
But there's another level or another way to think about it. Like for me, I would be advertising for a Juan.
Sure.
Like who's run a phone room before? Who's run a phone room with sales or collections, and try to hire that guy. But now that's a whole different split.
Right.
Because my split with you is not chump change. I mean, I'm giving you damn near
half. Yeah,
half.
Real close to half.
I keep a little bit for overhead, but you know, it's very lucrative for him. And part of the reason why Juan wants to get at least 3 VAs setting appointments for him is because he wants to be so busy going from appointment to appointment that he doesn't have time to make phone calls, because ultimately that's where the money is for you. And I could easily see you making $200,000-$300,000 a year, like, and not even saying that's a limit. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That's just
right. You know, and we've managed, I guess, to close some folks that are out of state. You know, we've never seen them. You know, saw the house, drove by the house, but like they're out of state, so we close it on the phone. That's the dream. You know, close everything on the phone. That would really be the dream.
Yeah, close everything on the phone.
Close
right?
everything on the phone.
And there's virtual wholesalers out there that do that, and I just don't want to learn 50 different set of rules. You know,
Sure.
I'd rather just master one state, or at most maybe 2 states. You know,
Sure.
I might run over to Georgia where all the laws are the same as Texas. You know, so I don't really have to learn that much. I just have to get another set of boots on the ground.
You mentioned rules. There's rules to calling too, and I would familiarize yourself with them first. You know, learn the Telephone Communication Practice Act. That's really important to outbound calls. You know, you kind of want to learn who's on the no call list. I know some folks scrub their lists against that. You know, but if they tell you not to call, you probably shouldn't call them anymore, because they can take recourse against you.
Yeah, learn your laws. What'd you say it was? The
Telephone Communication Practice Act, the TCPA.
TCPA, Telephone Communications Practice Act. All right, so you guys, I'm gonna put that link in there too in the show notes. So go to the show notes. 1,000 houses. I've been doing this all wrong. Not 1,000 houses, but since I've already messed up, we're just going to keep going. It's supposed to be reinvestorsummit.com/outbound calling, but go to 1000houses.com/outbound calling for this episode, because I screwed up. Okay, so this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm going, when I first start out on this guy, and I'm wearing all the hats, and then someone shows up and says, hey, I'm a real good house seller. Can I sell your houses? So the light bulb goes off, and I go, wow, I could take that one hat off and I could give it to this guy. So all of a sudden I'm not selling my own houses anymore. And then someone calls up and says, you know, I have a sign company where I post up bandit signs, and I think, wow, I can take that hat off, I wouldn't have to do that, so I get a relationship with this guy. How much it costs, I work it out. I do the math in my head, and it doesn't take long to come to the conclusion that this guy's working for $15 an hour, and I get paid way more, my pay grade's way above that. Good delegation. And then you find the bookkeeper, and then you find the collections person, okay? All of them working way below $50, $100 pay grade at the minimum. My pay grade's still way over that even still, but you figure out what your pay grade is. If it's under your pay grade, you got to delegate it out. Then a guy comes along and says, I'd like to find houses for you. You think, yeah, sure, everybody in the world says that, and then it never happens. And then he goes out and he brings 33 houses to me, messes up my company so bad with my houses and then my and his houses that we finally have to break out. He becomes my partner. Then my partner finds some people that he went to school with. One of them is an engineer, gets laid off from the oil field because the oil field has gone bust. The guy's just dabbling, trying out. Turns out he's a freaking prolific house finding. He's an engineer. Never would have picked him, but he's just diligent. He's got spreadsheets. He has data. He has calculation. He knows when he's going to call. He knows when not to call. He goes to the gym at this time. He goes to the store and shops and gets his groceries on this time. The guy is a friggin' machine, and so he comes on board. And then Juan calls his friend Mike Powell, my partner, and says, "Things aren't going so good down here. I need to jump. I've been doing a little bit in the real estate. Any place up there for me?" Mike says, "I'm willing to try if you're willing to try." We have a lunch, discuss commission structure, set up. You say, "Good, you're here." I didn't plan any of this, guys. I just took the opportunity every chance I got to take a hat off and put it on someone else's head. And when Juan walks by and says, "I want to start a phone room," I'm probably more like, "Holy cow, a phone room. That sounds interesting." Then he starts telling me. And so I start opening up these lanes. All the acquisition, say I want to have 5 acquisition managers. And I hope that they all have 2 VAs underneath them.
Right.
You know, and they should. And I think through you, they're probably learning that they should get VAs to do more. And so I open up, one guy's doing, he has the tax delinquents list, right? I don't want everybody working every list. When someone comes on, they work a certain lane. We used to have a guy that all he wanted to do was online auctions back when that was feasible and possible. Then no one else could do online auctions, because if I did, what was going to happen? I'm going to be competing against my own bids.
Right.
You know, so nuisance and abatement or residential property code violations. Only one guy works that list, you know. We took the realtor list. There's 15,000 realtors in San Antonio. I had 3 acquisition managers at the time. I gave 5,000 to one, 5,000 to the other, so that we're not all calling, or there's not even a chance, really, hopefully, that we're calling the same people, because it also gets into commission argument struggles. Not
Sure.
really between us, probably not arguments, but I don't want to have the crossover.
No tension.
Yeah, I don't want to have the tension. I don't want to have the crossover. So you may not even know which lane you're opening up next. I had a guy one time that wanted to learn how to get deeds in the mail and take houses subject to the existing lien. And he wanted to do that. He graduated from Trinity University here in town, one of the most expensive universities in the nation. And he said he'd work for us for free if we teach him how. He was taking a page out of Kiyosaki's book. We said, "We can't work for free. You got to have gas, and we'll pay you $4 an hour," you know. And he told his parents right after graduation that he got a new job making $4 an hour. It didn't go over very good. They thought he was a nut. First thing we did was we bought the most prominent, the most recommended subject to course on the planet. And the first thing we did was we bought it and we handed it to him, and then he did it, and then we sent him to the seminar. So the first month it was nothing but him getting educated. And then he opened up that lane, and he bought hundreds of houses for us over the time. Okay, but we just opened up that lane because we saw someone who wanted to and that we thought had the talent, and then finally proved that they had a talent. That guy's parents, don't worry about him and his $4 an hour job anymore, because he's since gone on his own.
Sure.
Moved to Dallas, multi-millionaire, and taking a $4 job right out of college was the best thing for him. And a lot of people didn't understand it, especially his parents had to pay for it. But what I'm getting at is, we open up lanes. I've been opening up lanes when I see the opportunity. I haven't planned for a lot of these lanes. I've wished and hoped, and I've kept my eyes open. And then as I travel through my life, I see good people, or I think that's a good person. I think, hey, would you like to try something? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm looking for 4 or 5 people under me that it works, that are acquisition managers, okay? And you're looking for 4 or 5 people under you that works, and you're willing to put in the time because you know how much it's worth, and you know what kind of workload that it'll take off of you once you put in the upfront time to train them, right?
That's exactly right. You know, and it makes it easy to work and to partner with somebody that has the integrity that I know isn't going to double cross me later on down the line once I start, you know, actually making it work. Okay, you made it work. Great. See you later. I know you're not going to do that.
No,
So,
it would be crazy to do that.
It'd be crazy, right? But I know that happens, right? And I know that I'm never ever going to have to worry about Mitch, Steven, or Mike Powell or anybody in this organization saying, "Hey, see you later. You did all this great work for us. See you later." Unless I did something terrible.
No, you're not, and you're not either.
Yeah.
So here's the point. So just to be clear, he gets about 40% of what the net is off the deal, and then I got a partner. So we've got at least 10% overhead, so that just leaves 50% left. And then I got a partner, so I'm 25%. But I'm going to get 25% of $200,000 or $300,000 a year, or $700,000 a year, depending. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I don't have to worry about it. Juan's got it handled over there. It's on autopilot for me. I've got things that I have to do every day, which is mostly find the money to fund all these deals.
Sure.
Right? That's my job.
Right.
Every day I'm out trying to find the money. People go, well, he never shows up at the office. He doesn't do anything. You don't have any idea. I'm having drinks, eating, talking to people every day. And, you know, it's a hard job. Someone's got to do it. But at the end of the day, if all those happy hours, lunches, dinners, breakfast, coffees turns into $16 million in private money, and I can fund all these lanes, hey, I think I've earned my money. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I think I've earned my money. Absolutely. And I think I brought a viable service to your part of the business, because your life would be completely different if you had to find the deal and find the money. That would suck, right?
It'd be a much bigger challenge, you know. And I think a lot of it is too. Like at first, it was having to learn all those processes, Mitch, that I didn't know anything about. You know, because again, the lead was just handed to me where I was coming from. Now I know the process. I know the struggle, right? And so it was easier for me to be able to learn in an insulated environment with you guys, saying, hey, look, we're going to try and give you some leads. Here are these dead leads or these old leads from these other folks. Like, figure it out. Here's this opportunity now. You're interested in that? Okay, take it and run with it. It gave me that opportunity to learn more about real estate investing when I only knew really one avenue. I really only knew wholesaling, right? And so now I know these other avenues. I know these other ways that we can take down these houses, a little bit more creative terms, all that sort of stuff.
You also have money. Before, you were working under a contract and you had to close by the end of the contract.
Exactly.
Right? So contract time. So this is like easy now.
Yeah.
Because Juan's like, yeah, I got 5 houses in the pipeline. Mitch will bring the money.
Yeah, that's easy. It's like, you know, did you buy it at the right equity? Yeah. Okay, don't worry about it. Well, you're fine. You know. Just
end of story, right? That's why Mike came on. Really, he says, I want to partner with you. He says, why do you want to partner with me? He says, because you have the money and I don't want to worry about the money. I just want to worry about the deals. He says, from what I gather, Mitch, you're tired of going out and finding deals. You've done it, you know, thousands of times, thousands and thousands and thousands of house calls. He says, you don't want to do it anymore. I said, no, I don't. He says, do you still like raising money? I said, I love raising money. Who doesn't like to drink wine with rich people and talk? You know what I mean? So I said, I still want to do that. And he says, okay, you do that, I'll do this. So that's really, I'm trying to be as transparent as I can, guys. I don't make all the money from every house. I make 25% of this guy's lane. But it's a lane that I don't really even have to look at. Now, Mike was more involved in training you, and he put your happy ass in a car more than a couple times, took you down to town, show you those houses, give you the feel, the smell, the walk, so that when you came upon a crappy house, you didn't run away from it, because we make a lot of money on crappy houses as well, don't we?
Yeah, those are our favorite.
Yeah, it's like Mitch, the crappy house buyer.
Yeah, that's right.
Juan, the crappy house buyer.
You know, you make the same amount of money on a crappy house than you do the nice house, you know, because sometimes you have to overpay for those nice houses. Yeah.
So, I hope I haven't burst anybody's bubble, but it's completely transparent and it really works. I mean, I'm very independent. You're well on your way to being independent. It's only been
not even a year.
Not even a year.
A year October 1st. It'll be a year October 1st.
You know, this is where it has to put my disclaimer. Your results might not be the same as Juan's, because Juan busts his ass, okay?
Well, I tried to. Gonna be honest, enjoy my life as well. And I think that's the opportunity, right? It's like you guys have given me the opportunity to work as hard as I want to work and to enjoy my life at the same time. And I couldn't be more blessed.
So you're your own boss of that department, right? And no one's looking over your shoulders. He works straight commission only, boys. And when you leave a job and you take another job and it's straight commission, and there's going to be this lull, it's scary as hell, isn't it?
Sure. We're fortunate enough to have some money from a house that we sold in Houston, and that's kind of also insulated us. But we haven't really touched it much. Mm-hmm. So that's a testament to, I guess, the systems that we've set up. And you sent me to a negotiation training course in May or June or something like that. We took a lot away from that. Went to Quest IRA Expo 2 or 3 weeks ago, took a lot away from that. So I'm not just learning about real estate, I'm learning about wealth planning, I'm learning about negotiating, I'm learning about all this other stuff that's going to help me in my life. It's good, Mitch.
People said, why would you take them and expose them to all this stuff? Says, I want them to be successful. I want them to have 401ks and IRAs. And at some point, you find a house that you want to live in, it'll be your house. I mean,
sure.
There's another house. Me and Mike have this. There's another house tomorrow. If that's the one you want to live in, then take the house.
Yeah, absolutely. I told Mike coming onto this, one of the main goals is finding a house for my mom. Like one of these days I'm going to buy her a house. He says, "Do it, dude. Do it. We'll figure it out. You pay us an assignment or whatever." Yeah.
So, pays to support your people and try to get them to be as successful as they can.
I have no plans on going anywhere.
So, I want you guys to go to reinvestorsummit.com/outbound calling, or in this case, maybe 1000houses.com/outbound calling, since I screwed up. But either way, it'll get you there. You go to that link, and it'll all be correct from there on out. We're going to give you a copy of that poem so you can help decipher whether your VA can speak English or what level they're speaking English. And also we're going to give you the name of the website where we go to post that we're looking for resumes. And this is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I'm going to ask you right before we go, what would you tell the new guys out there that are just contemplating an outbound calling system? What words of advice do you have for them?
Write it down. Write down your plan, and then take action.
Write down your plan and take action. That seems to be a theme this week in the calls. Everyone's ended with, and you got to take action.
You have to do it. You got to do it.
You can write it down all you want to, but it's not going to do itself.
Yeah.
All right, this is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I'd like to thank you all for taking time to get you some Juan Fuentes and learn a little bit about the process of getting an outbound calling system or an outbound calling room set up. This is Mitch Stephen, and we're out of here.